If you want the Wrestlemania's ass to this ring, give me a hell yeah.
You know, if somebody were to walk into this studio right now, Chip, I think they could tell which one was W.B. Ward and which one was Chip Douglas.
Why is that?
Because all they would have to do is look for the one who was holding his head high.
What?
After last week's predictions.
Oh.
So actually it'd be a pretty simple give.
You know, that's the reason I brought beers to the studio today.
Yes, you brought libations.
So that way I could just drown my sorrows during the show.
Yeah, you're giving this the good old-fashioned, and I love it, the good old-fashioned Steve Austin approach to broadcasting.
Exactly.
Have a beer and relax.
Exactly.
I got to tell you, I completely agree with that. As a matter of fact, let me...
And what's funny is I was listening to, because Steve Austin has his own podcast now.
He has a darn good podcast.
And it's very good. And did you listen to the one with him and Ric Flair?
No, I haven't heard that.
It's a good one.
Is it the one after the Jim Ross incident?
No.
Okay.
No, because they don't even talk about Jim. Well, yes, it was. Yes, it was. They briefly touched upon it, but they didn't talk a lot about that incident.
And I bet you with good reason, too.
Yeah, you're probably right. But in the middle of it, they all were like drinking beers in the middle of it.
Okay, we're going to go over all of our predictions that we had for Night of Champions.
And my theories.
And your theories. Some of them weren't so bad, though. I got to give you credit.
I know.
I got to give you credit. Some of them weren't so bad.
Thank you.
And I might have an extended prediction for Wrestlemania.
Ooh, okay.
Extended.
Awesome.
Prediction. Right now, though, let's go ahead and talk about our social media.
Our Twitter page, SCI_Wrestling. Please go to our Twitter page and follow us. Facebook, Squared Circle Insider Wrestling. And also our YouTube page, which is where you're going to be able to listen to our show, which is SCI Wrestling.
You know, each week we plug these things.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And, you know, that makes sense that we do.
Right.
But then again, if somebody's listening to our podcast, then they're at one of those places.
That's true.
So what the hell are we doing?
I don't know.
It'll make sense if we do
just,
that, though.
you know,
I
just thought we should do it.
It's just like, you know, on radio, they constantly do station IDs. But the only way you can hear the station ID is if you're listening to the, station. You can't help but think.
Okay, here's my reason behind it, because we have the YouTube page, which is where people go listen to the show. Someone might accidentally just stumble onto the show on YouTube.
That's true.
Now, of course, you know, you do have like the graphics on there with our Twitter page and Facebook on there, but still, we say it.
Good.
And I don't know, that's just my
and it still makes sense to do, but but I'm kind of pointing out it's the old phenomena of why hearing aid companies advertise on radio. You kind of wonder, who the hell are you talking to? Okay. Anyway, now that we got that, if you don't have one, let me know. But do you have a tweet of the week?
I do have a tweet of the week.
Well, of course, we have to bring you on in style. Yes.
It's time.
Got your music back up here, dude.
Our tweet of the week is brought to you.
Wait a minute. Let Michael do it. There we go.
Okay. There's the final tweet there. WBE Creative Humor is where this comes from. And it says, bet you didn't know that Dusty Rhodes was T.L. Hopper's son. Now, do you know who T.L. Hopper is?
No, this is lost on me.
He was a gimmick of a plumber back in the early to mid-'90s.
I do remember that. But he just wasn't the wrestler he was cracked up to be.
Exactly.
The son of T.L. Hopper.
That was good.
Okay. They should have had him named J.L. Topper. Well, but his name would have been John.
Now, I have an idea.
Okay.
That I want to run past you right quick.
Go for it.
For a future show. Now, we talked about this off air about a draft. Like, you know, if we were...
Oh, wait a minute. Speaking of drafts, let me get a drink of my beer.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
That if we own our organization, we would choose, you know, we would base it off that. So, but I've gotten a little bit farther into this, and I think I've nailed it now.
Okay.
We're going to do a show where you're a SmackDown general manager, and I'm the Raw general manager. Or vice versa. I was
going to say, oh man, I want Raw.
Oh, you can have Raw. Okay.
I'll watch Raw.
And then the WBE roster will be up for grabs. And I'm going to combine a list of...
Wait a minute. How do you differentiate between Raw, SmackDown, and then all of a sudden now you have WWE? Isn't that Isn't that inclusive of SmackDown and Raw?
Well, right. We're going to take the rosters and we're going to split them up.
Okay.
So we're going to draft it.
Okay.
So we're going to do our own version of a brand split.
Oh, so I will make my own lineup for Raw, and you'd make your own lineup for SmackDown.
We pick our own wrestlers.
Okay.
For who we want. So let's say round 1, I take John Cena. So you can't take John Cena now because he's on SmackDown.
Right.
So we're going to do our own little brand split, but that's a future show.
Okay.
You like it?
Yeah, that sounds pretty interesting.
All right.
But Cena's not going to stay in one place.
Yeah, well, it's imagination, okay?
Okay.
We're going to take the concept.
The suspension of disbelief.
Exactly. It's not. It would never. We're not saying this is ever going to happen, but we're just going to play. It's a little game that we could do.
Gotcha.
Just saying.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, we can handle that. Okay. What is this? ROH.
ROH? Is that what you're looking at?
Yes. What okay, I see on your list, ROH PPV screw up. PPV screw up I get, but what the hell is ROH?
Okay, ROH is Ring of Honor.
Oh, okay.
Ring of Honor is probably in the U.S. the number 3 wrestling organization in the U.S.
Okay.
A lot of the wrestlers we see on WWE that are champions now or big stars came from Ring of Honor at some point.
I thought you were misnaming the last pay-per-view on WWE.
No, I was close.
Okay.
Ring of Honor had a situation happen where they were doing iPay-per-views where people pay for the pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. Impulse pay-per-view, that's what that means.
Yeah, is that what it means?
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know that. Well, anyways, they had a huge goof.
Okay.
To where... some technical errors happened, and they had refund all the pay-per-views to people who bought it.
That's got a smart.
It's and probably really deflating on their income. So they did that kind of a makeup pay-per-view. This next pay-per-view, they decided to upload for free.
Okay.
But they forgot to upload the pay-per-view.
Oops.
So
we forgot the show here, folks.
They just completely shot themselves in the foot. It's like, hey, folks, sorry about the last screw-up, but we'll go ahead and just upload this pay-per-view to this website for free. And we're not going to do that.
They're going to. They can keep the initials. They're just going to have to change the name to Ring of Horror.
But the wrestling's great. I mean, it's a fantastic show.
Is it anybody I would know?
Matt Hardy's in it.
Is he?
Yeah.
Who?
Matt Hardy.
Who's that?
One of the Hardy Boys.
Matt Hardy. I've heard of him.
Jeff and Matt Hardy.
I know.
Oh, thank you.
I'm just being stupid.
Jesus. And Maria, the diva, she's in there too.
Yes, I've heard her.
She's worth looking at.
Yes, she is. A lot more so than Matt Hardy.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for keeping me abreast. I mean, anyway, we've already we got that. We got the tweet of the week. Okay, now let's move on to the
yes, Night of Champions and Raw.
Let's take a look at this. Let's see. Pre-show, the primetime players, Darren Young and Titus O'Neil. Let me scroll down here and see what the prediction was.
I think we both nailed it.
Yeah, we did. We both predicted primetime players, but that was a given.
Right.
They have to win.
Right.
Just because of political correctness, they've got to win.
Now, of course, they went to move on to the pay-per-view to face the Shield.
Mm-hmm.
And the Shield beat them at the pay-per-view.
Yes.
All right, so did we predict that?
We seem to have missed that.
Oh. Well, damn it.
It's a shame, because I would have predicted the Shield.
I actually probably wouldn't have.
Okay, we'll call that one a draw.
All right, draw.
Okay, on the next one, the Usos, 3MB.
No, that's the whole gauntlet match is what you're looking at.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you on your rundown, you seem to have forgotten what an enter key is.
I did.
Okay, yeah, you have everything here. Okay, the first one, Curtis Axel with Paul Heyman. Against Kofi in singles match.
Now now this one was never even advertised.
No, we didn't predict this.
So we weren't able to really predict this one because we had no idea about it.
But whenever you saw,
which is frustrating.
Well, yeah, but whenever you saw the card and you see them all of a sudden go, oh, by the way, Curtis is going to be wrestling Kofi Kingston. Kofi's going to take a fall.
Right.
It's going to have to.
It's going to have to.
Because Lord forbid, Kofi should win that one, and then the whole rest of it's going to look phony, like anything in professional wrestling doesn't, right?
Let's see. RVD and Alberto Del Rio. I know we've called this one.
But you're skipping a match.
Oh, yeah. Oh, go ahead.
We both predicted Natalya would win.
And we're both wrong.
Yes, we were. Because AJ won. We both predicted in the Divas match Natalya would win.
I really thought it was her time.
We sorry. No, AJ Lee, I think, is going to be around for a while.
I do too.
Okay, now let's go ahead and get on to the one that you're getting all sexually aroused over.
I wonder why.
Rob Van Dam, Alberto Del Rio.
Who'd you pick?
I picked on that one. I picked Rob Van Dam.
Okay.
That means let's see. You picked
now this
Alberto
is the BS factor because of the fact that RVD technically won.
Yes.
But Alberto Del Rio still has the title.
Well,
and when
we didn't predict who was going to hold the title. We predicted who was going to win.
That's the BS factor in all this.
I got to be me. But we did, in all fairness, we were predicting the winner, not who the title holder.
That's true. That's true.
Sometimes I feel like I'm somehow a lost brother kin to the Weasel. Because when I'm justifying my wins on this, I feel like him. And you shouldn't make me feel that way. I feel so.
I'm sorry.
I feel so useless.
My bad.
Okay, well, no, I'm going to take that one because that's all we predicted.
All right, done.
We didn't predict
whatever
anything else. All right, The Miz defeated Fun.
Did we predict this one?
Go. No, we missed it.
All right. Well, who cares anyways about that one?
Yeah, that was kind of a. Now I got to say this though, Fandango's really becoming more and more impressive. He's starting to show some more dimension to his character.
Yeah, but they're starting to fade away his character, really.
Well, because
if you're losing to The Miz, you're in a downward spiral.
I think though on that, you're right. If you're losing to The Miz of all people, but and by submission, no less.
Right.
But come on, the submission was as a figure 4 leg lock.
Right.
So there's no way you're going to get out of that. I mean, that's that as far as the storyline is concerned. If you escaped the figure 4 leg lock, then you're just defeating a lot of wrestling tradition.
Now, I still think they should take my idea. If they want to carry this feud off, they need to do something with Summer Rae in there somewhere. Because that much I said. I said they should do it that way. Okay. Rebook the whole angle that way.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'll go with you on this.
All right, next.
Now, this next match would be your crowning glory. Because we both predicted CM Punk would win. So we lost that part of it. So I've got to take a loss.
But there's a huge but in this one.
Yeah, you got a huge BS factor.
Yes.
And a justifiable one, I'll be the first to admit.
Thank you.
Which was, I'll let you have your glory so you can explain it.
So I predicted that someone was going to join Team Heyman. And
I wish I would have pressured you to predict who.
You did. I gave my idea because I said Big E Langston.
Oh, that's right. I remember that. You sure did.
I was pretty damn close.
You were, and I will concede that somebody indeed did defect. Now, here's my question. We didn't see the pay-per-view. Did it actually happen on the pay-per-view?
Yes.
Okay, because I was wondering if they might have just revealed that the next night.
No, it was on the pay-per-view.
It actually was on the PPV.
Right.
Okay. And for those of you who may not be in the know, we are, of course, referring to
Ryback.
Mm-hmm. Ryback is now a member of the biggest bunch of bullies in the WWE.
Now, I do like it, though. I think this is a good move for Ryback. Because his weak link is his promos, his vocal promos.
Yes.
And so now that he has that microphone piece, I think that's a very creative way of reintroducing his character with Paul Heyman. What's going to be very interesting is when Brock Lesnar comes back. If they're really creating this, Heyman fraction, how Brock Lesnar and Ryback are going to be able to coexist. So they might be able to actually, now I'm actually talking this out, they might be able to spin this back to Ryback being a face or possibly even Brock Lesnar.
Brock would never work as a face. I don't see that going over at all. I mean, I think he might try it, but I just don't think the fans
I think it would work in some areas.
I don't know. I would have to reserve opinion on that, but you're not bringing up the 300-pound bear in the room in the aspect of them becoming a very formidable tag team.
Who's that? Ryback and Axel?
Yeah. Oh. Not Axel.
Heyman?
No.
Lesnar?
Lesnar and Ryback.
Oh, that would be pretty cool.
But would they be able to pin down Lesnar for that type of a commitment?
Yeah.
Because he's not a very committable person outside of an insane asylum.
He has one more pay-per-view scheduled for this year, and that's it.
So I don't see a great big career there.
Not at all.
Now, Lucy, you got some splaining to do because in this next match we didn't predict it because you made a great big...
No.
You did. You made this great big conspiracy thing about Dean Ambrose.
Now, okay. Now this goes to my theory, and I'll just go into my theory right now.
Okay. You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
Well, yes, because I bitched and complained about the Night of Champions representing the fact that every championship bout should be on the pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. And I complained that Dean Ambrose as a U.S. champion was not on the card. Mm-hmm. Now, I'm going to go into my conspiracy theory mode, and I'm going to say that it just happened to be coincidence the day after this episode loaded online that Dean Ambrose and Dolph Ziggler was announced.
Okay. Somebody might have heard it and went, oops.
Exactly.
We forgot something here.
They know, I think they see me as a very creative online predictor. And I think someone in WBE has listened to our show, and they're changing the results of the pay-per-views based off our show. That's my conspiracy theory. That's why my predictions are always becoming wrong.
I'm not going to argue with you on that, only because I'm sitting here thinking, man, I hope that's the case.
And I am not Dolphin 1925. I am not the Reddit guy.
You're not the Reddit guy. No, he is not the Reddit guy.
Not even close.
I've known Chip for years, and trust me, I can never say anything where I could say he read it. So, so trust me, he is not that. Okay.
Wow.
Oh man. Okay, I don't think there was a lot here we did not predict.
We missed a lot, so let's just go straight to Daniel Bryan.
Okay, Daniel Bryan. Here's what we predicted. I predicted Daniel Bryan would win, and you predicted Randy Orton would win. I'll just let you say what the results were.
Okay, well, I mean, Daniel Bryan won.
Oh,
because my conspiracy theory.
Yes.
Because ultimately, my idea was that they were going to, do some kind of angle to where Big Show comes out and does the McMahon's work, which they did the next night.
Yes.
Truly,
yes, they did.
But we previous this to go into the Raw, where Triple H and McMahon stripped Daniel Bryan of the belt.
Yes. Yes.
I like this.
Yes.
I like what they're doing. I think it's a brilliant idea. I think creative is hitting a really good stride right now, because I did not see Daniel Bryan winning.
Yes.
And when I heard it and I saw it online, I was kind of bummed. But when I saw it the next night on Raw play out, I was like, ooh, now this is interesting. Now this I'm interested in. And that's where to me, that's when you get me. When you hook me on is when you do something that I don't see coming. And that's when creative is really hitting their stride. And I'm going to say for the record, guys like Paul Heyman and Dutch Mantell, Zeb Coulter are doing some of the creative work, and I think it's showing.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think they are really having some major input. And I don't mean this to sound like I'm jumping tracks and changing subjects here, but if you've been keeping up with the with Totally Divas reality show, which now is on hiatus until the first part of October, I think.
Right.
I get the distinct impression that the day-to-day creative, not counting the gentleman that you just mentioned, but the regular creative department pretty much just kind of make this stuff up as they go along.
Yeah.
I really, truly get that feeling from the Totally Divas reality show, because it seems like none of the girls really know what they're going to be doing until they're getting into the arena that night.
Right.
Which kind of strains the whole idea behind having a storyline. It's kind of like, okay, how can you have a storyline if you're going to make it up as you go along?
Well, I think they with all the online and syndicated rumor sites that are out there, and especially with the Reddit being able to predict everything, I think they're writing ahead of time, but they are keeping everything so hush-hush within backstage WBE that no one knows what they're going to be doing day to day.
Okay, now there was another prediction that we didn't record here, but I made the prediction a long time ago, and it came true.
Oh, for Raw, right? Dusty?
Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, go ahead.
I predicted he was going to make an appearance, and by golly, Daddy came home.
Yes, he did.
Yes, he did. And I saw this one coming about a mile away. And I think I may jump on your conspiracy bandwagon here, because I announced this one a long time ago.
Hey, you did. See?
Yep.
See, I might be right on this one.
You could be.
I could be
granted,
right.
It was kind of an abbreviated stay. You know, one thing that did surprise me was he did not appear as Dusty Rhodes, but he appeared referring to himself as Virgil Runnels. That surprised me. Did you catch that?
No, I didn't.
You have to listen to it real close. I'm afraid I don't have the recording anymore, but right at the beginning of it, and I'm sure you could go on YouTube and see this now, he says right at the beginning of his speech, I'm not here as Dusty Rhodes. I'm here as Virgil Reynolds.
Because Reynolds is actually their last name.
Yes, that's his real name.
I wasn't aware that Virgil was his first name, though.
Mm-hmm. And that is exactly where they got the name for the for Ted DiBiase's.
Ted DiBiase's bodyguard?
Yep, that's where they got his name from.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that was from good old Dusty.
Wow.
But I think that was the first time, I've known for years that's what Dusty's real name was, but I think that was the first time I've ever heard him actually use that in a show.
Right.
I've never heard him use his real name before.
What do you think about this angle?
I like the angle. I like the idea of it, of a Big Show coming out and supposedly filling up McMahon's wishes by knocking out Dusty Rhodes. However, and this is where I think Dutch Mantell is coming into being here and showing his fingerprint on the creative end of it. Having Big Show jump into the ambulance, supposedly to go along for the ride with Dusty to the hospital, I think that was a brilliant twist because that blurs whether or not the show is turning heel or if he's truly regretful of what it is that he's doing and he feels like he's doing it because he has to.
Right.
So they're leaving themselves an out, and they can kind of go by audience reaction to the Big Show as to whether or not he's going to go back to heel or back to face.
Right.
So I think they've done a brilliant thing as far as that is regard. Okay, before we run out of time here, if you don't mind, I want to see about this long-term prediction that I told you about earlier.
Okay, go ahead.
First, I'm going to have to ask you something.
Go ahead.
And ladies and gentlemen, Chip and I did not discuss this beforehand, so you're actually hearing a little bit of show prep, and I wanted to do this intentionally during the broadcast. Now, you stay in touch with wrestling rumors more than I do.
Right.
Have you heard whether or not Taker is going to be back for the next WrestleMania, or is he pretty much gone?
No, I heard he was.
He is going to come back.
Yes.
Okay, I was hoping so because this is revolving around him. My long-term prediction is that I do not feel that Daniel Bryan will ever hold the title until the final pay-per-view before WrestleMania. And the main event will be Taker passing the baton to Daniel Bryan in WrestleMania.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. I've been thinking back to everything else that's been happening, and that kind of a resulting storyline makes sense. Because first off, you can really, really set it up for many, many weeks in advance, and in this case, months in advance, and have things happen from one pay-per-view to the next. And look, they've already set the stage for it with this one. Daniel Bryan gets the title only to have it stripped the very, very next night.
Right.
I don't know if that specifically is going to rear its ugly head again, but I think you may see a variation on that or two of where he almost gets it, doesn't quite get it until the very last pay-per-view before, and this pay-per-view, whatever stipulation they'll come up with will be one that nobody can back out of, thereby making him the legitimate champion. And then the next natural thing is to go into WrestleMania with Daniel Bryan and Taker, to have Taker hand him the baton. As a matter of fact, think back. You may recall that before the pay-per-view that you and I reviewed and then watched together, I played a bit of a press conference that John Cena was in.
Yeah, I remember that.
And he asked the philosophical question, is this Daniel Bryan's time?
Right.
If you really think back to the context in which he said that almost kind of sets the stage for this as being Daniel Bryan's time. That's why I'm making that long-term prediction right now.
I like it.
What say you?
I like it. I could see that happening. I would disagree. I don't think that's going to go the way that you say.
Okay.
But I would love to see it go that way.
Now, that being said,
because I'm a huge Daniel Bryan fan.
My last... Now that's even more reason why he'd want to hand the baton to him.
And exactly. And now from creative standpoint, from everything that I've heard, sorry about that, I've heard John Cena or Brock Lesnar is going to be could be the opponents for Undertaker in WrestleMania 30. I don't like either one of those ideas from a standpoint to where Brock Lesnar's a part-time wrestler. So if he loses to Brock Lesnar, you're not doing anything for Brock Lesnar. You're not doing anything for Brock Lesnar. If you let Cena beat him,
beer. Okay, sorry.
If you let Cena beat him, you're not doing anything for Cena either, because of the fact that really he doesn't have that much time left on top. So to see Daniel Bryan do it, I think would actually be the best served idea, because this is a guy that you can still build on for the next, 3, 4, 5 years down the line.
This could be the next era.
You're right.
I mean, we've gone through the Cena era, the Attitude era,
right?
The corporate era,
right?
And who knows what's next,
right? I like it.
Now, that being said, let me show you another vicious side of that same coin.
Go ahead.
You know, the last 2 pay-per-views as far as predictions, and I'm not saying this just to rub your nose into it. Okay, maybe just a little bit. But between the two of us, I've had a little bit higher accuracy rate.
But my conspiracies.
Okay, but still, the accuracy rate is still on my side. I'm just going by wins and losses.
Oh, okay. So this is how you're justifying your idea?
But, no, trust me, you're going to like this. I'll let you tell the world. What is my record for predicting Undertaker's matches in WrestleMania?
About as good as Undertaker's losing streak at WrestleMania.
Exactly. I have never nailed that. I have never gotten that one right. So to that extent, you may not have anything to worry about.
But I like it. I love the idea. That's something that I could really jump on board with, and something that I would love to see, especially for guys like us who will be there live.
That's true.
I would love to be able to experience that, and I would love to be, and that's one of the main reasons to why I even came up with the idea of trying to find a way for a sponsorship to let us go down to WrestleMania, is because I see Undertaker's time coming to an end. Mm-hmm. Whether it's this WrestleMania, which makes sense because it's the prototype, every 10 years, mm-hmm. WrestleMania 30 kind of makes sense. Why would you let him go out in WrestleMania 31 as opposed to 30? 30 makes more sense. So wouldn't it be just an amazing idea to be able to see that live, to see a real end of a career to someone that has lasted longer in WWE than anyone else?
And what better place to have it happen than in the Big Easy?
Well, exactly. And of course, WrestleMania 31, we could see that one too, because that's in Dallas.
I wonder, regardless, win, lose, or draw, how badly drunk will the Undertaker get? Will Mark become that night? He's going to be out on Bourbon Street.
Well, hopefully he's with us. I just want to say that for the record.
More than 1 or 2 wrestlers are going to be down there. Probably yours truly and you are going to be down on Bourbon Street that night.
I will definitely be on Bourbon Street that night.
Speaking of drunks and reprobates, I would really like to thank last week's guest, Chris Plank, for being on our show.
Oh, my gosh.
He is a sweetheart of a guy. I'm proud to say that I have worked with him and known him. He really added some class. To the show.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Chris was amazing. If you listen to this show, then thank you tenfold. Really appreciate him having on the show.
I wonder, he said he's going to come back to do our WrestleMania prediction show, so we've got a ways to go before we hit that.
Right. I think he'll come on before then, though.
I hope so. I hope so, and maybe, just maybe, because we know that Chris has inroads with Jim Ross. Jim, if Chris plays this show and you happen to hear it, contact us.
We would love to.
Chris knows how to get a hold of me. Chris is a friend on my Facebook list. I believe he's a friend on Chip's. He's definitely a friend of mine. So he'll tell you that we're not going to railroad you into questions that are anything other than honest, because we will take a journalistic slant on this, so you don't have to worry about being railroaded.
Exactly.
And besides, I'll buy you a beer.
And it would be great to be able to stand by and just say that we were able to have that first interview, because I don't think he's done an interview since his retirement.
I would love for that. At least not outside of WWE. I know he's done a number for there.
Oh, yeah, of course.
He has done a number of interviews on there, but I would... Jim,
after his retirement.
Love to have you on the show, dude. Love to have you on the show. Okay, we got a pretty big Monday Night Raw coming up.
Yeah, we do.
Monday night. No pay-per-view on Sunday, right?
Oh, God, no, we just had one.
So
now we're building up to I think it's Background.
They have a new...
I think it's... I might be tearing this up. I think it's Background.
Could be something like that, because they're coming up with at least one pay-per-view a month now.
Is Dusty going to wrestle? That's the big question. What do you think?
I don't think so. However, I do see him standing in the corner.
I do too.
He
can at least do a bionic elbow.
Yeah, he'll probably come in and get involved with that, but I can see him being in the corner with his 2 sons as a tag team match.
And that's where I see too. I heard rumors of a 6-man, but I see more as a tag team.
That's where I think it's going to go.
Right.
Well, fans, check us out anywhere on the internet. We'd love to hear from you. If you have questions or predictions, let us know. See you next week.